Hi, I'm Nicole Roberts Jones, and welcome to The Fierce Files. Now, what I know for sure is that one of life's greatest gifts will meet you when you go after your more. And so here is why I share with you thought-provoking insight and behind-the-curtain conversations with women who have reached the pinnacle of success because they went after their more. Now, I really want you to get this. One idea from these episodes can make a remarkable difference, not just in your career, but in your life. And I want to make sure you join the conversation in our Facebook group. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com. Now grab your pen and get ready for today's session of The Fierce Files. Hi, this is Nicole Roberts Jones, and welcome to this special 3-part series on why you must go after your more. This episode is part 2 in the series titled You Are the Answer. Now, in part 1 of this series, we looked at how your gift is bigger than your job, and we started the conversation around you must go after your more. And I can tell you that going after your more is not only for you. It's for every person that needs you. See, when you have this rumble in your belly, it's because God put gifts in you to live on assignment. And yet it's also because you have more to do, and you have more to do for all that need you. The point I'm making is that more rumbling in your belly is so that you can serve more people and do more good in the world. So let me go right out of the gate on this one. To break this down further, that more in you is leading you to 2 things. Number 1, to be the answer to those that need that gift in you. And number 2, to lead you to greater revenue, or what I like to call your abundantly above all. I'll go into the more revenue in part 3 of this series. But for now, I really want you to get that you were born to be the answer. See, I wonder if you really realize that your gifts and talents are the answer to somebody's problem. And that's why God put those gifts and talents in you in the first place. See, I call that fierce inside of you. So every day that you're not living in the full activation of your gifts, you are holding up somebody's answered prayer. You're holding up someone's business or life from moving forward. So many people that I meet as I have the privilege of traveling throughout the country, speaking and teaching. So many have shared with me that this conversation is like an aha moment for them. See, you may not realize that your know-how, your expertise is something of value to other people. So in this episode, I want to make sure you realize that the years you've spent developing your gifts and talents are not in vain. Whether that's been by building them at your 9-to-5, countless trainings or degrees you've gotten to grow you, or anything in between, or all those things. All of that has gotten you to a level of expertise, a level of giftedness, and your gift is needed. Let me give you some concrete examples of successful people that are relevant and as they're seen as experts. And I got to tell you, it's only because they're in their more and committed to be the answer. See, people like Susie Orman. Now, did you know that at age 30, Susie was a waitress making only $400 a month? It was while she was a waitress that Susie had this feeling that there was more out there. Yes, her gift was way bigger than that job she was in. And it was that rumble in her belly that quickly moved Susie into realizing that she was great with money. Living off $400 a month, you got to be smart with money, right? If you're going to survive. So at age 30, she went from being a waitress, barely scraping by, to becoming a financial advisor for Merrill Lynch. Who does that? And she didn't stop there. She kept going after her more. She eventually became the author, the financial advisor, the motivational speaker we all know today. And that happened because she decided to take the expertise she developed through her journey and share it with the world. Another example of this is Rachel Ray. Now, according to Rachel, she grew up loving food. And here's what I found, a quote that Rachel said, and here it is. My first vivid memory is watching my mom in a restaurant kitchen. She was flipping something with a spatula, and I tried to copy her and ended up grilling my right thumb. I was 3 or 4 years old, right? Now, Rachel insists that cooking is a way of life, and she was just simply born into it. She said everyone on both sides of her family cooks. See, Rachel has turned that gift given to her by her family into a wildly successful cooking career. She is an iconic Food Network television personality. She's a best-selling author, editor-in-chief of her own lifestyle magazine, and she has a hugely successful syndicated daytime show. See, Rachel saw a problem. Moms couldn't work 8 hours and then come home and prepare a hot, yummy meal for their families, right? So she took her love for food and crafted the 30-minute meal idea. She used her gift and became the answer to working mom's problems. And that's why we know who she is today. Then there's Dr. Ruth Westheimer. Now, I might be aging myself on this one, but she is someone whose intriguing insight and knowledge about sex made her the go-to sex therapist. Now, during her early days as a college professor, Dr. Ruth never estimated that one day she would be on every media outlet. I'm talking TV, radio, print, spreading what she has labeled sexual literacy, right? However, with her unique style, she has been able to communicate effectively and touch millions with her expertise. What's her style? She is direct and truthful. She saw a problem. People were afraid to talk about sex, and she used her gift and wealth of knowledge to be the answer. See, she spoke openly and truthful about sex. She made it okay for people to ask questions, and her honesty connected with people, and now she's known as the sex expert. Now, Susie Orman, Rachel Ray, and Dr. Ruth are only a few examples of what happens when you say yes to your more and become committed to be the answer to a group of people who need that gift in you. See, none of them are people that are any more special than you or me. But what they did was they put their extra with their ordinary and packaged their gift into being the answer. And now they're extraordinary. They took their desire and the hurt that they saw a target group of people were waiting for and decided to say yes to it. And you have the same opportunity to move into extraordinary, to move into your more. So how do you stop and say yes to be the answer? I'm going to give you 3 things. You know I'm teaching. I'm going to always give you something to apply, right? So number 1, I want you to identify, what are people coming to you for? It could be your current business or it could be your coworkers at work. What is it that people want to pick your brain about or run past you? Dare I say, because you do what you do so effortlessly, you've probably been giving your intellectual property away for free and you don't even know it, right? Number 2, I want you to identify the proven results. If you can define how you help your current customers or your clients get to a result, you've identified the solution you provide. Now, keep in mind when I say clients or customers, it could again be your coworkers because you may not have started the business yet. But when you can identify the proven results, you've got a business to create. I want you to keep in mind that the one reason people come to you is because they see your expertise, your gifts, your talents as a vehicle that can help them achieving something they want, need, or desire. So what is it? And then number 3, I need you to create a formula from it. We'll talk more about this in part 3 of this series, but you have to know that once you understand why people come to you, the predictable result you help people get to, the next step is to package that into a process so that getting them to that predictable result is easy for you and effortless for them. And guess what else you have? Something people will pay for. Matter of fact, it will make you money while spending less time and energy doing it. And I'm going to give you a concrete example of this. I'm going to give you a concrete example of this by sharing a story of one of my clients. So some of you may know her. Her name is Dr. Deborah Tillman, and she's America's super nanny on Lifetime TV. Now, Deborah came to me at a time that she was just overwhelmed with a need in her business and couldn't figure out how to serve more people. Because there are families all over the country that need her. See, Deborah was speaking all over the country. She was on TV. She had one-on-one parents she was coaching and working with, and she couldn't take any more clients. And she couldn't figure out how she could serve more people and not spend every waking hour doing it. So she hired me. And as we began our work together, what I soon discovered was there was something in Deborah's way. And here's the thing I want you to get. This thing that was in her way was creating her inability to serve all the families that needed her. And why am I sharing this with you? Because I want you to really get this. What she didn't have was a strategy for serving more and spending less time and energy to do it. And she was leaving families behind that needed her. Just like you too may be right now leaving people behind that need that gift in you. And you didn't even know it until this moment. Now, I remember my very first coaching call with Deborah. And I remember it like it was yesterday. See, Deborah was so excited, and quite honestly, I was too. And as she shared with me the work she was doing with parents and families, the way she coached parents around supporting their children, the way she did this and that and the other. And what Deborah didn't realize is that she had a formula in her. And here's one I want you to get. When you don't realize that there's a method, a formula by which you do what you do, a formulaic way that you operate in your gift, it cannot be duplicated. It can't be duplicated. It can't be repeated. And what every family needed from Deborah was a repeatable, predictable result to get them to an ultimate outcome of a nurturing, happy, supportive family environment. And Deborah was totally fighting me. She was adamant that she tailored the experience for every family she worked with, right? And she really didn't tailor it. See, everything she did with every family, she used the same formula. Just she met them where they were in regards to where they were in her formula. Do you get that? See, I want you to understand this. What was in her way is that she couldn't spend any more time. She couldn't take any more families. And just like Deborah, if you cannot give more of yourself to serve more people, you've got to really figure out how you can create a formula from what you do. And then it allows you, and I'll talk about this more in part 3, to create multiple streams of income. See, you've got to find ways, I call it, to make money while you sleep. And matter of fact, while you're here with me now, somebody's walking through one of my online programs right now. Remember, I shared with you in the last episode, the tools on this level are not sufficient for your next. And see, Deborah's problem was she needed a new way to structure her business. She was ready for more. And when I say more, I'm talking about when you are the answer is to serve more people. So as we began to do the work, and I began to help Deborah see that she had a formula. I remember that Deborah came to our next coaching call in tears. She was in tears because she didn't realize that it was even possible to create a formula from the way she had been operating in her gift. And see, from that formula, we were able to create multiple ways she could work with families. Some she's present and some she's not present. But here's what I want you to get. She was able to now stop leaving families behind. She could say yes and serve in ways to offer the work she does with them so that, again, their families could move forward. She could say yes and serve more that needed her. And ultimately, she could say yes and not empty her own tank, wearing her own self out, trying to do it. And I'm sharing Deborah's story with you because I want you to think about in what ways could you possibly be leaving families or businesses behind because you're not making the shift in perspective into your more that's needed. Remember, I said this in our last episode. The tools, and I just said it a minute ago, the tools you've used on this level are not sufficient for your next. And in order for you to move into your more, you've got to realize your more is not for you. It's for every person that needs you. So how do you expand your territory so you can serve more, do more, and really move into your more? So your story may not be just like Deborah's, but here's what I do want you to get out of her story. There is more for you to do. There are more people for you to serve, and there is a greater way you can do that and expand your territory and expand and increase and magnify your revenue. That greater meaning you make as you step into your more will also multiply your impact in this world. Yes, your gift back from the expansion into your more is profit. And what you put in comes back to you. And that's what I call living into you abundantly above all. Now, I really want you to stop and think about this. Do people often look to you or call you for advice or your expert counsel? It could be your girlfriends. It could be your family. It could be your coworkers. It could even be your boss at work who keeps putting you on special assignments. Regardless of where you are or what you do, people are looking to you. Why? Because you are the answer. It could be because you have great relationship advice. It could be because you're a great writer, or maybe you have a great legal eye, or you can package a product that sells every time. They come to you for your intellectual property. See, they have identified you as the answer to a problem that they need to solve, whether that's in a boutique, a boardroom, an office, a salon, or a stage, or a classroom. See, when you are truly in tune with your life's assignment, others see your light as a spotlight on their darkness. See, what you know is instinctual. It can't be taught or bought. It's something you do so naturally that most times you don't even recognize it as a gift. You say things like, can everybody know how to do this? Oh, this is easy. But this is a gift that was placed in you at birth. It's the way you were designed. It's intrinsic to your DNA. And when I say DNA, anytime I say it, I'm talking about your distinct natural ability. And so your DNA has a special assignment for you to fulfill. You have a life's calling. Now, Typically, when I say or tell people they have a life's calling, it makes people think of folks like Dr. Martin Luther King or Mahatma Gandhi, or at least it makes me think about that, or Mother Teresa, right? Or maybe even T.D. Jakes. See, what people don't consider about them is that not one of them were born knowing that they had some specific purpose. See, what moved them into being the answer and to being into their assignment was the moment each of them tapped into their DNA. Again, that's a distinct natural ability. And they did three things. 1, determine the best way to use their gifts. 2, figured out the people that needed their gifts as an answer to their problem or need. And then 3, they made a commitment to be the answer and share their gifts with the world. So moving into your more, the one thing I find interesting that comes up anytime, again, when I'm working with entrepreneurs, coaches, lawyers, accountants, authors, experts of any kind, all of you that use your knowledge somehow to move someone's life or business forward, which is every one of you. But when I have the pleasure of serving women like you to take their intellectual property and start to build a business, most don't build with the need of the people they're serving in mind. And you have to know that the one question every customer or client ever thinks or has in their mind when they're talking to you is, what's in it for me? Now, no matter how dynamic you are as a business owner, as a coach, as a speaker, whatever, no matter how phenomenal you are, the simple truth is that no one says yes to you or what you do if they don't believe or see how you are the solution to their problem. So at the end of the day, who you are and that rumbling inside of you is all about how you meet a need. Now, I hope you understand that your commitment to your more is also a commitment to be the answer to all those that need that more in you. Now, here's your journal assignment. I'm adding to your more journal with this episode, right? I want you to take some time and write out, how are you the answer? I want you to sit with that and think on that and allow your gift, your expertise to lead the answer to it. You can choose to sit with this for the week or a month and look at what people are coming to you for. What are people asking to pick your brain or run past you? The common thing that everyone is asking for is the assignment, the answer you were born to make in this world. Now, with this solution clear, let's move into part 3, where I will show you how you should and get paid for it. Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Fierce Files. Now, I want you to walk away from these episodes with value, so grab your pen and answer either one or all 3 of these questions. Number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what would you do differently as a result of what you heard? So you may have heard something you've already heard before, or you may have learned something new. Either way, don't take the insight that was shared with you for granted. So commit to doing one thing different because of what you heard. Number 3, what was confirmation for you? What did you hear that confirmed you're on the right path? See, I want you to take a moment and celebrate you. Too often in our journey, we focus on what we're not doing and we forget to celebrate what we are doing. So what was something that showed you that you're headed in the right direction? Now, I want you to share your answers. Share your answer to either number 1, what was your greatest takeaway? Number 2, what would you do different? Or number 3, what was confirmation for you? And share it in our Facebook community. So go to findyourfiercemovement.com and use the hashtag FierceFiles. Now, each experience we encourage, support, and celebrate as a community. It allows us to expand in possibility and wisdom, in encouragement and love. Now, we've invited you into our community to deepen our journey with being the answer someone needs and in being committed to your next level. So until the next time, be extraordinary, be unapologetic, be bodaciously you, go and be fierce.